The judge's gavel came down with a sound that echoed through my entire body. 5 years Riverside Correctional Facility, court adjourned. 5 years, 60 months, 1,825 days. I was 23 years old and I just lost 5 years of my life for something that felt both entirely my fault and completely beyond my control. White-collar crime, financial fraud, they called it. I'd been the fall guy for my boss's scheme, too naive and too trusting to see it coming until the FBI showed up at my apartment. My lawyer had fought for minimum security. You're a first-time offender, non-violent, college-educated. Riverside is the best we can hope for. The best, as if any prison could be considered good. Now, 3 weeks later, I sat in the back of a corrections transport van, hands cuffed, watching the world I knew disappear through a small window. The other inmates in the van were silent, each lost in their own version of this nightmare. I was terrified, not just of prison itself but of what everyone had warned me about. As a gay man out, obviously gay even when I tried to hide it, I'd heard all the horror stories. Prison was going to eat me alive. My name is Cameron Hayes. This is the story of how everything I thought I knew about prison, about people, and about myself turned out to be completely wrong. Riverside Correctional Facility looked exactly like you'd expect a prison to look. Gray concrete walls, razor wire glinting in the afternoon sun, guard towers at each corner. But it was also smaller than I'd imagined, almost mundane in its institutional plainness. The processing took hours. Strip search, medical exam, psychological evaluation, paperwork, more paperwork. They took my clothes, my identity, everything that made me asterisk me and replaced it with an orange jumpsuit and a number, 847,392. Hayes Cameron, Cell Block D, Unit 3, Bunk 7. The guard, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes, handed me a bundle, sheets, towel, toiletries. Keep your head down, do your time quiet, and you'll be fine. I wanted to believe her. Cell Block D was a long corridor with cells on either side, 2 levels connected by metal stairs. The noise hit me first, voices echoing off concrete, metal doors clanging, the constant hum of hundreds of men living in close quarters. Every eye turned toward me as I walked down the corridor, guided by a different guard. I felt exposed, vulnerable, like prey being examined by predators. Fresh meat, someone called out. Pretty boy. Hey sweetheart, come here. My face burned, this was exactly what I'd feared. Ignore them, the guard said quietly, they test everyone. Cell 7 was on the second level. My cellmate, I'd been told, was named Marcus Johnson, serving year 7 of a 10-year sentence for armed robbery. The cell was tiny, maybe 8 by 10 feet. 2 narrow bunks, a metal toilet and sink combo, a small desk bolted to the wall, that was it. That was going to be my entire world. Marcus was lying on the bottom bunk when we arrived, reading a thick paperback. He looked up as the guard unlocked the door and I got my first real look at my new roommate. He was big, easily 6'3", heavily muscled with dark skin, a shaved head and arms covered in tattoos. He looked like every stereotypical dangerous prisoner I'd imagined. I was going to die. Johnson, this is your new cellie. Hayes, Cameron, try not to kill each other. The guard actually smiled like this was funny, then left us alone. Marcus sat up, setting his book aside. For a long moment he just looked at me. I stood frozen by the door holding my bundle, trying not to shake. You can breathe, he said finally. His voice was deep but not unkind. I'm not going to hurt you. Okay, I managed. Top bunk is yours, I've got bad knees, can't do the climb anymore. He gestured to the narrow ladder. Lights out is at 10, I'm usually up early around 5:30. I try to be quiet but the cell's small so you'll probably wake up anyway. This was bizarrely normal, like he was explaining roommate rules in a college dorm. Okay, I said again, apparently having lost all other vocabulary. You gay? Marcus asked bluntly. My heart stopped. What? You gay? It's not a trick question, and before you panic I'm asking because if you are, there's some things you should know to stay safe in here. I swallowed hard, lying seemed pointless, I'd never been good at hiding it anyway. Yes. Marcus nodded slowly, thought so, you got that look, terrified someone's going to hurt you because of it. Isn't that, aren't they going to? Maybe, maybe not, depends. He stood up and I instinctively took a step back. He noticed and sighed. Look, I'm not going to hurt you, I'm not interested in you that way and I don't care what you do or who you are, but you need to understand how things work in here or you're going to have a bad time. Okay, I said my third okay in as many minutes. First rule, don't show fear. I know you're scared, everyone is their first day, but you can't let them see it. Fear makes you a target. Second rule, find your people. There's groups in here and you need to figure out where you fit. White, black, Hispanic, Asian people mostly stick with their own, but there's also other groups. The LGBT guys, they have their own network, you should find them. There's an LGBT group, this shocked me more than anything else so far. Sort of not official or anything, but yeah, there's gay guys in here, trans women, all kinds, they look out for each other, you should connect with them. Why are you helping me? I asked suspiciously. Marcus smiled and it transformed his face. Because I remember my first day, and because contrary to what you probably think, most of us in here aren't monsters, we're just people who made mistakes, some worse than others but still people. He sat back down, picked up his book. Get your stuff sorted, dinner's in 2 hours, I'll show you the cafeteria, introduce you to some people, after that you're on your own. Thank you, I whispered. Don't thank me yet, you still got 5 years to survive. The cafeteria was overwhelming. Hundreds of men in orange jumpsuits sitting at long metal tables arranged in clear territorial zones. The noise was deafening, shouting, laughter, arguments, the clang of trays and utensils. Guards stationed around the perimeter, watching but not really engaging. Stay close, Marcus said, guiding me through the food line. Get whatever looks edible. It's all going to taste like cardboard anyway, but Thursday's actually not bad. They do fried chicken. I grabbed a tray mechanically. Some kind of meat, mashed potatoes, green beans that had been cooked to death, a roll, and what might have been jello. Over here, Marcus led me to a table in the middle section. Several black men were already sitting there, all looking up as we approached. This is Cameron, my new cellie, Marcus said. Cameron, this is my crew, that's Deshawn, Carlos, Michael, and Tree. New fish, one of them Deshawn, I thought said, looking me up and down. You're not going to last a week. Leave him alone, Marcus said, sitting down. He's nervous enough. I sat next to Marcus, very aware that I was the only white guy at this table. Everyone was staring at me. So what are you in for? Carlos asked, leaning forward with interest. Financial fraud, I said quietly. Ooh, a white-collar criminal, we got ourselves a Bernie Madoff over here. This got laughs. It wasn't like that, I got set up by my boss. Sure you did, Tree said, but he was smiling. We all innocent in here. He's gay, Marcus said casually, and my stomach dropped. So if any of you have a problem with that, say it now. Silence fell over the table, I wanted to die. Then Deshawn shrugged, don't care, not my business what anyone does. Same, said Carlos. As long as you don't try anything with me, we're good, Michael added. Just like that, the tension broke. They went back to their food, conversation moving to sports, some drama involving another inmate, the upcoming visiting day. Marcus leaned over, see, not everyone's an asshole. But some people are, I asked quietly. Oh yeah, some definitely are, which is why I'm going to introduce you to someone after dinner. After dinner, Marcus led me across the common area to a different section of tables. Here, the energy was different, quieter, more careful. A mixed group sat together, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, but they all had something in common, a kind of awareness in how they held themselves. Victor, Marcus called out to a Latino man in his early 30s with perfectly groomed hair and surprisingly neat prison wear. Got someone you should meet. Victor looked up, assessed me with sharp eyes, then smiled. It was a warm smile, genuine, and I felt myself relax slightly. Fresh fish, Victor asked. Day 1. Marcus confirmed, Cameron Hayes, he's bunking with me, he's one of yours. One of mine, Victor raised an eyebrow, still looking at me. He's gay, Marcus said bluntly, and scared, I figured you could help more than I can. Victor's expression softened. Ah, come sit, Cameron, Marcus, thank you for bringing him, you're a good man. I try, Marcus clapped me on the shoulder. I'll be at my usual table if you need anything. Cameron, listen to Victor, he knows what he's talking about. Then Marcus left and I was alone with this stranger and his group. Sit, Victor said, gesturing to the empty spot next to him. Don't look so terrified, we don't bite. I sat, looking around at the other faces. A young black guy with expressive eyes, an older white man with gray hair, a heavy-set Hispanic man covered in tattoos, and what I realized with surprise was a transgender woman, though the prison had her in men's clothing. This is my family, Victor said, introducing them. That's Anthony, he's been here 3 years, Richard 5 years, Big Mike 8 years, and this beautiful lady, despite what her paperwork says, is Isabella, or Izzy for short. Hi, I managed. He's cute, Anthony said, studying me. How old are you, baby? 23. Oh, you're just a baby, Anthony looked sympathetic. What they get you for? I explained my situation again, and they all listened with various degrees of sympathy and understanding. 5 years for being the fall guy, Richard said, shaking his head. That's harsh. That's the system, Victor said. Never fair, especially not to people like us. He turned to me. So Marcus told you to find your people. He's smart. In here you need community. You need people who understand what you're dealing with. I don't understand what I'm dealing with, I admitted. Being gay in prison? Victor's voice was kind but direct. It's complicated, some people don't care, some people are hostile, and some people, he paused, some people will try to take advantage of you, to hurt you, to use you. You need to know how to protect yourself. My hands were shaking. Everyone keeps saying that, but no one's telling me how. First, Victor said, you don't show weakness. I know you're scared, we all were at first, but you can't let them see it. Second, you don't go anywhere alone, especially the showers, especially at night. Third, you make allies, people who will watch your back. Like you, I asked. Like me, Victor confirmed. I've been here 6 years, I know how things work, I know who to avoid, who to trust, how to navigate the social structure. And I look out for my people, the LGBT inmates who would otherwise be easy targets. Why, I asked, why do you do this? Victor's smile turned sad. Because when I first got here, no one looked out for me. I learned the hard way how brutal this place can be. I don't want anyone else to go through what I went through. Isabella reached across the table, taking my hand. Her grip was strong, reassuring. You're one of us now, she said, her voice deeper than I'd expected but warm. We protect each other, that's how we survive. Thank you, I whispered, feeling tears prick my eyes. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this, it wasn't kindness. We're still human, Richard said quietly. Prison doesn't change that, it tries to, but if you fight hard enough, you can keep the best parts of yourself. We sat there for a while just talking. They told me about the routines, the unwritten rules, the guards to avoid, and the ones who were decent. They told me about programs, GED classes, vocational training, the library. They told me how to stay safe, how to stay sane. Tomorrow, Victor said as we got up to head back to our cells, I'll introduce you to more people. We have a whole network, guys, spread across different cell blocks. You'll never be completely alone. Unless you want to be, Anthony added with a wink. Some of us are single and looking, if you know what I mean. Anthony, Victor said warningly. What? I'm just saying Cameron's cute and he's going to be here for 5 years. He might want company. My face burned. I'm not, I don't. Ignore him, Isabella said, shooting Anthony a look. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, ever. Anyone gives you trouble, you tell Victor or me, we'll handle it. As I walked back to my cell, escorted by Victor who wanted to make sure I got there safely, I felt something I hadn't felt since the sentencing: hope. Maybe I could survive this, maybe I could even find a way to live, not just exist. That first night in my cell, I couldn't sleep. The sounds of the prison at night were constant: snoring, coughing, occasional shouts, guards' boots on concrete, metal doors clanging. The thin mattress was uncomfortable, the blanket scratchy, and I was hyper-aware of Marcus's presence below me. But more than the physical discomfort, my mind wouldn't stop racing. Everything that had happened in the last 12 hours played on repeat: the transport van, the processing, meeting Marcus, dinner, Victor and his group. I'd expected violence, expected assault, harassment, cruelty. Instead, I'd found unexpected kindness from the most unlikely sources. You awake? Marcus's voice came from below. Yeah. First night's always the hardest, your brain won't shut up right. How did you know? I heard him shift on his bunk. Because I remember mine, 8 years ago, I was 25, terrified, convinced I was going to die in here. But you didn't. No, I adapted, found my people, learned the rules, kept my head down. It's not a good life, but it's survivable. I was quiet for a moment. Why did you help me today? You don't even know me. Because someone helped me, Marcus said simply. My first cellie, he was a good man, showed me the ropes, introduced me around, kept me from making stupid mistakes. He got out after 2 years, but I never forgot what he did for me. You're paying it forward. Something like that, plus, and I could hear the smile in his voice, Victor would have kicked my ass if I let anything happen to you. He's protective of his people. Victor seems different than I expected. Victor's special? He's got more heart than most people on the outside, let alone in here. He's created something important, a support system for people who would otherwise be completely vulnerable. The guards know it, the administration knows it, and mostly they leave him alone because he keeps the peace. What about the other inmates? Do they ever give you guys trouble? Sometimes. There's always going to be homophobic assholes in here or outside, but Victor's smart and he's got connections. He's made himself valuable to enough important people that messing with him means consequences. Important people. Prison politics, you'll learn. For now, just know that Victor can protect you if you stay close to him. We were quiet for a while, then I asked, are you okay with having a gay cellmate, really? Marcus laughed softly. Man, I don't care what you are, you seem like a decent guy who got screwed over, that's all that matters to me. Besides, my little brother's gay. He came out to me right before I got locked up, so if anyone gives you shit for being who you are, they're giving my brother shit too, that's personal. Something in my chest loosened, thank you. Get some sleep, Cameron, tomorrow's going to be a long day. You've got orientation, medical follow-up, job assignment. It's all boring bureaucracy, but you have to do it. Okay, good night, Marcus. Good night. I lay there in the darkness, listening to the sounds of the prison and slowly, finally, drifted off to sleep. The first week was a blur of new experiences, each one teaching me something about prison life. Day 2, orientation. A board counselor explained rules I'd already figured out, showed us a video about prison programs that looked like it was made in 1995, and handed out packets about good behavior and parole eligibility. Day 3, medical follow-up. A doctor who barely looked at me declared me healthy enough for general population and asked if I needed mental health services. I said yes. He scheduled me for an appointment in 6 weeks. Day 4, job assignment. I was put in the prison library restocking books and helping inmates find materials. The librarian, Mrs. Chen, was a civilian employee who actually seemed to care about the inmates. Books are freedom, she told me, even in here. Day 5, first real threat. A guy in the showers, I didn't catch his name, made a comment about my ass as I walked past. I froze. Then Anthony, who'd been showering in the next stall, stepped between us. He's with Victor, Anthony said calmly. Move along. The guy sneered but backed off, just playing man, no harm. After he left, I was shaking so badly, I could barely finish rinsing off. You handled that wrong, Anthony said as we dried off. You froze, that's showing fear. I was afraid. I know, but you can't show it. Next time look them in the eye and tell them to fuck off. Don't threaten, don't escalate, but don't freeze either, understood? Understood. Day 6, first letter from home. My mom telling me she loved me, she was working on my appeal, she visited my apartment and packed up my things. Reading it, I cried in my cell while Marcus pretended not to notice. Day 7, first visit to the yard. The yard was bigger than I expected, concrete and chain link fence with a few basketball courts, weightlifting equipment and groups of men standing around talking. It was also clearly divided into territories. Stay with us, Victor said as our group, me, Victor, Anthony, Isabella, Richard, and a few others I'd met walked out together. Don't wander off, don't make eye contact with anyone outside our group, and definitely don't go near the Aryans. The Aryans, I asked. White supremacist gang, they control a corner of the yard. They're the ones who would give you the most trouble for being gay, well, for being gay and white. They think you're betraying your race or some such bullshit. We found a spot along the fence, and I got to just stand in fresh air and sunlight for the first time in a week. It felt like a miracle. So, Anthony said, sidling up to me, how's your first week been? Overwhelming, scary, better than I expected but still terrible. That about sums up prison life, he said cheerfully. But hey, you're still here, you're adapting, that's good. Am I adapting? You're here talking to us, not hiding in your cell, you're coming to meals, going to your job, following routines. Yeah, you're adapting. I watched the other inmates playing basketball, lifting weights, just standing and talking, normal activities in an abnormal place. Can I ask you something personal? I ventured. Sure. How long have you been in? 3 years, got 2 more to go. And you seem, okay, like you've made peace with it. Anthony was quiet for a moment. I wouldn't say peace, more like acceptance. This is my reality right now. I can spend 5 years being miserable or I can find ways to make it bearable. I chose bearable. How? Community, mostly, Victor's family, books. I'm taking college classes through the education program. I work in the kitchen, which is actually not bad. And yeah, I've had relationships in here, not serious ones but enough to remember I'm human. Relationships like. Yeah, like that. Sex happens in prison, Cameron. Love happens. It's complicated and sometimes messy, but people are people. We need connection. I thought about this. I don't think I could do that, have a relationship in here. You might change your mind, Anthony said. 5 years is a long time to be alone. 3 weeks in, I met Ezra Quinn. I was in the library shelving books in the fiction section when someone cleared their throat behind me. I turned to find a guy about my age, mid-20s maybe, with light brown hair, blue eyes, and a shy smile. Sorry, he said, I was looking for the Steinbeck section. Oh, that would be. I scanned the shelves, found the S authors. Here, East of Eden, The Grapes of Wrath, Of Mice and Men. You've read them, he asked, sounding surprised. Some. East of Eden is one of my favorites. His whole face lit up. Mine too, the way he writes about good and evil, about choice and fate, it's incredible. We stood there in the library stacks, talking about Steinbeck, and I realized this was the most normal conversation I'd had in 3 weeks. No discussion of prison politics or survival strategies, just two people talking about books. I'm Ezra, by the way, he said, extending his hand. Ezra Quinn. Cameron Hayes. We shook hands and his grip was warm, gentle. You're new, he observed. 3 weeks. I've been here 8 months, still feels new sometimes. He pulled out East of Eden, held it like it was precious. Books help, getting lost in someone else's story somewhere else entirely. Yeah, I agreed, they do. So what are you in for? He asked, then immediately looked embarrassed. Sorry, that's probably rude, you don't have to answer. It's okay, financial fraud, you. Drug possession, I was an addict, got caught with intent to sell, they gave me 3 years. Are you? I wasn't sure how to ask. Clean, yeah, 18 months clean now. Prison's terrible for a lot of reasons, but at least there's no access to what I was using. He smiled sadly, silver lining, I guess. Mrs. Chen called from her desk. Cameron, can you help process these returns? I should go, I said reluctantly. Yeah, but hey, I'm here most afternoons. I volunteer with the literacy program, helping guys who are learning to read. If you're ever around, we could talk more. I'd like that. As he walked away, book in hand, I felt something flutter in my chest. Something I hadn't felt since before my arrest: interest, attraction, the possibility of connection. That evening, I mentioned Ezra to Victor during our daily dinner. Ezra Quinn. Victor's eyebrows rose. You met Ezra. In the library, we talked about books. He seems nice. Victor exchanged a look with Anthony that I couldn't interpret. What? I asked. Is there something wrong with him? No, Victor said carefully. Ezra's a good guy, sweet, smart kind, but Cameron, you need to be careful. Careful how? Ezra's vulnerable. He came in as an addict, he's young, he's openly gay, he's had a hard time here, some people have taken advantage of that. Taken advantage? My stomach sank. Not like you're thinking, or at least not just that. Ezra wants to be loved so badly that he attaches to people quickly, and sometimes those people use him for commissary, for favors, for sex. Then they toss him aside. It's happened 3 times since he got here. That's awful, I said. It is, and I'm telling you this not to scare you away from him but to make sure you're careful. If you're going to be friends with Ezra, be a real friend. Don't lead him on, don't use him. He deserves better than that. I wouldn't do that, I said, offended. I believe you, but I've seen good intentions turn bad in here, just be aware. That night I couldn't stop thinking about Ezra, about his shy smile and his enthusiasm for Steinbeck and the fact that people had used him. I wanted to be his friend, just his friend, that was all. But I'd also felt something when he smiled at me, and I wasn't sure what that meant. Over the next month, Ezra and I became friends. We talked in the library almost every afternoon. About books at first, he was working through the classics and I helped him find new ones to read, then about our lives before prison. He'd been a college student studying English literature when his addictions spiraled out of control. I was functional for a while, he told me one day. We were sitting at one of the library tables, supposedly working on job applications for release programs but mostly just talking. Going to classes, maintaining my grades, but then it got worse. I started missing class, failing tests, losing weight. My parents tried to help but I pushed them away. Do you still talk to them? Sometimes they write, they don't visit, it's too hard for them seeing me in here, but they write. My mom visits, I said, every 2 weeks. She cries every time, which makes me feel worse. At least she comes. We talked about our fears too. His, relapsing when he got out, disappointing his parents again, being so far behind his peers in life experience. Mine, never recovering professionally from a felony conviction, being out of touch after 5 years, becoming institutional. Institutional, Ezra asked. When you've been in so long you can't function outside, when prison becomes your normal and the real world feels foreign. We won't let that happen, Ezra said firmly, we'll keep each other human. We also talked about being gay in prison, which was complicated. I had a boyfriend in here, Ezra admitted one day. Last year, I thought he cared about me but Victor was right, he was just using me, for commissary mostly but also for other things. When I ran out of money to put on my books, he dumped me and moved on to someone else. That's horrible. It taught me to be more careful, to not fall so fast. He looked at me with those blue eyes. But it's hard, you know, we're starved for affection in here. Someone shows you even a little bit of kindness and you want to believe it's real. It can be real, I said, not everyone is using people. I hope you're right. 2 months in, I saw my first real violence. It happened in the cafeteria. 2 guys got into an argument, I didn't know about what, and suddenly one of them threw a punch. Within seconds it escalated, more men joined in, picking sides. Guards rushed in with batons and pepper spray. Marcus grabbed my arm, down, get down. We hit the floor along with everyone else who wasn't fighting, covering our heads as chaos erupted around us. I could hear shouting, the meaty thud of fists on flesh, guards yelling commands. It felt like forever but was probably only 2 minutes before the guards got control. They dragged the fighters out, their faces bloody, headed to segregation. Everyone else back to your cells, lockdown. We filed back, silent and shaken. Marcus and I were locked in our cell for the rest of the day and night while the prison went into crisis mode. Does that happen a lot? I asked, still trembling. Every few months, usually over stupid stuff, disrespect, gambling, debts, territory. The guards shut it down fast because if they don't, riots happen. That night I couldn't sleep again, every sound made me jump. I kept seeing the violence, kept imagining what would have happened if I'd been in the middle of it. Cameron, Marcus said from below, you okay? No. That's normal, first time seeing prison violence always messes you up. But you weren't hurt and you handled it right, you got down, stayed out of it, that's what you're supposed to do. I thought I was adapting, I said, but today showed me how fragile everything is, how quickly it can all go wrong. Welcome to prison, Marcus said quietly. It's always fragile, that's why you build your support network, stay alert and don't get comfortable. The moment you forget where you are is the moment you're in danger. 3 days after the fight, Ezra didn't show up to the library. I asked Mrs. Chen if she knew where he was, she looked uncomfortable. He's in medical, she said finally, that's all I can tell you. Medical, my stomach dropped. I found Victor that evening, what happened to Ezra? Victor's face darkened, he was assaulted in the showers. Guy named Derek, one of the Aryans. Derek made a comment, Ezra talked back, and Derek beat him. Is he okay? Physically, he'll heal, bruised ribs, black eye, split lip. Emotionally, Victor shook his head. He's fragile right now, this isn't the first time someone's hurt him. Can I see him? Medical doesn't allow visitors unless you're family, but he'll be back in general population in a few days. When he is, he's going to need friends, real friends. When Ezra came back, I barely recognized him. The bruising made his face swollen and discolored. He moved carefully like everything hurt. I found him in his cell. He had a single, which I learned was because his previous cellmate had requested a transfer after one of Ezra's bad breakups. Hey, I said from the doorway. He looked up, tried to smile, winced. Hey. Can I come in? Yeah. I sat on his bed next to him. I'm sorry about what happened. Not your fault. I know, but I'm still sorry. I hesitated. Do you want to talk about it? Not really, I just want to forget it happened. His voice was small, defeated. Okay, then we won't talk about it, we'll talk about something else, anything you want. We sat there for an hour and I let him lead the conversation. He talked about the book he was reading, about a letter he'd gotten from his sister about nothing and everything. When I left, he said quietly, "Thank you for visiting, for not treating me like I'm broken." You're not broken, I said firmly. Someone hurt you, but that doesn't make you broken. Sometimes it feels like it does. Over the next weeks, I made a point of checking on Ezra every day. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we just sat together in comfortable silence. I brought him books from the library, shared commissary snacks, made sure he wasn't alone. Slowly, he started to seem more like himself, smiling again, laughing, engaging with the world. You're a good friend, he said one day. You deserve good friends. I'm starting to believe that, he said, because of you.